All right, guys. Well, guess what? Kurtis Connor has won the vote. Apparently, Kurtis Connor is being canceled for something. I don't really know. This is a pretty big deep dive into it. Your vote voted for me to cover this. So, Kurtis Connor, here's my opinion. Not for me. Doesn't seem to be particularly bad based on what I know about him. I just think that his content is not for me. That's it. And I think that that's okay, that people, that's it. So anyway, Kurtis and Dean, always a looming apology by Kunkin Daster. I think his name is supposed to be Duncan. I feel like we've engaged with this. We've seen this person's stuff before. But let's go. Wow. Reminds me of an introduction to a video game. Or cows.
Hey everyone, good to see you.
What was
My
that
name is
intro?
Duncan. This is Dean. This is Jacob.
I thought it
and
was
this
Kunkin.
is Curtis.
Okay.
And you're you. These are going to be the three key players
Sometimes.
in today's exercise of diving into internet discourse that really shouldn't matter and then trying to pull something out of it that's worthwhile so it doesn't all end up as wasted time. That's my channel, I guess. And I'm speeding through the introduction because my inner editor is telling me that this is going to be a long project to make, so I want
Just to be clear, I have no idea who the other two people are. I just know Kurtis Connor, vaguely.
to get you familiar with these faces as soon as possible. However, before any of this starts, I have a quick message.
Yeah.
There's going to be some heavy topics.
I've been dating my wife for many years. We've been married for many years. We're on our 30-year marriage. It's a beautiful thing, and I love her a lot. I still don't know the name of all her family members, so I always struggle with that.
And what's coming up.
With just
And
names in general.
I don't mean that only in the trigger warning way. I mean that in just the gravity of what all of this is going to mean. There will be sexism,
Yes.
homophobia,
Yes.
tons
King just
of racism.
gifted 5 memberships.
Yes. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. My 4 favorite things: sexism, homophobia, racism, and gifted memberships. I'm just making a joke. I do appreciate the 5 gifted memberships, so it's very generous of you.
But this is the commentary genre.
Yes,
and
yes,
we cover losers like that all the time. If
Okay.
you're a regular at my channel, then you're familiar with my method of...
That's one of those things. I wonder how bad this is, or if it's a little bit of a pearl clutch. And I'm not saying that it is. I just wonder, because I know different spheres will engage with different things differently. Like, I have a pretty funny little jokester audience where, I make jokes. Everybody knows I'm well-intentioned. Everybody knows that the jokes I make aren't intended to offend, but they are edgy, right? I'm not trying to make you upset. I'm just trying to get everybody to laugh. But I mean, maybe that's not necessarily everybody's sphere. Definitely isn't. And so I wonder if that's just part of it. Maybe the things they did weren't necessarily a big deal according to me, but their sphere that's a little bit more virtuous than I am, maybe it's a bigger deal.
pulling apart a topic from all sides and approaching it from multiple angles. I say the word nuance so many times that even I wish I had to stop. And that will be how we navigate this. But I want to dispel any assumptions you might make based on the topic that we're going to be dealing with.
All right.
There is no nuance in blackface at all.
I mean, Jimmy Kimmel did it for a long time. You know? Jimmy Kimmel did it.
Never has been.
There has been. Like, let's be real. Like, I don't know the specifics. Blackface is wrong, unequivocally. All right? But historically, like, it hasn't been that bad. You know, back in the day, like, Jimmy Kimmel dressed up like a basketball player and pretended to be like a black person. Nobody thought he was being racist. It was just him being silly and like, kind of making fun of that basketball player in good faith. There was a time where it was, like, in some instances, it was okay. Historically, I'm not saying it's okay now, but historically, it hasn't always been bad. I mean, again, the intentionality is what matters. If you're dressing up like a black person to like, make fun of them and whatever, and it's in a fun, you know, lighthearted way back in the day, that's fine. You know what I mean? If you're dressing up like them to just embarrass and make fun of black people in general, that's not fine. You know what I mean? But okay, let's see what the specifics are.
It will always just be wrong.
All right.
Anytime it's happened, everyone involved has known at least some level that what they were doing was just bad.
Yeah.
People are going to argue about the details of the situation and the context, and I say go for it. Those are the conversations that we should be having if we want to reach people. This could be a learning moment for someone, one that's way overdue, but one that they deserve. But blackface itself is a hard stop. There's no conversation to be
Why does this guy not like black faces, brother? I love black people. They have beautiful faces.
had there. There is not one redeeming quality in that
What's wrong with
act,
this guy?
and you have to know that if we're going forward.
All
if
right.
a single one of you tries to defend or excuse blackface,
All right,
in the
we get
comments,
it. We get it. You don't like blackface, brother. I don't
in
either.
any
I get
context, used in any time, don't care
You've let everybody know that you think it's a morally reprehensible thing, guys. I get it.
if you are trying to defend the person you love.
All
just
right.
know
Let's
that you
move
do not
faster.
represent what this channel's values are, and you do not belong in this channel's community.
Hey,
I
listen,
want nothing
let me just tell you something. All the black people called me, and they're applauding you right now for saying blackface is bad. I just want you to know that. It's beautiful stuff. That's beautiful.
to do with you, and I won't think twice about it, because you're not worth keeping around.
All right.
I think that may have spoiled some of the big parts of the story, but don't worry, I've got more to say than just condemning bigotries. This video will be asking a lot of questions, but there is one crucial question that I want you to keep in the back of your head, because that's the one we really want to know the answer to. Where is the line before you are responsible for someone else's actions?
I don't know. I guess it's dependent on whatever the situation is that happens and how much power and influence you have to stop it.
And in the spirit of spoiling things, and even though we have a lot of details to get through first, this is the photo we're working towards. I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea of the
That's a nice black guy. He looks like a nice guy.
tone of this topic.
Oh, wait. Is that not a black guy?
This is where we're going to end up.
Is that Skibbity Toilet? What is happening here?
This picture isn't where the story ends, but it's a pretty hard-hitting middle point. Now, to be crazy honest, I don't actually know what the YouTube terms of service are about showing blackface.
I'm sure it's fine. It's about in a educational manner, and this would be considered an educational manner because you are advocating against blackface. So I think you're fine, brother. I think you're fine.
Rent is coming up, so I don't want to risk anything. My plan is to just, each time I show the image, have a different part of it blurred, so you never see the full thing, but over time, you get the complete picture.
Just kidding.
That's why parts of it will be blurred differently.
All right,
YouTube, if you're watching, I play by your rules. And if YouTube isn't watching, guys, this job is horrible. All right,
my life,
99% of you know who
my
these people are,
rules.
you know the backstory, and you're ready to dive into the...
I do not know the other two. I'm assuming they're kind of like some slightly edgy bros, or at least they have been historically. Okay.
Details and drama. But before we shred into that, there is backstory that you already know, but people like my parents could be watching, and they might not know everything, so we got to catch them up. So we're going to do a quick history.
My mother might be watching too, and my parents might be watching too, and if it's my mother, hi mom, it's my dad, fuck you, bitch. You haven't talked to me since I was 5. What the hell are you watching for? You know?
Lesson. A fun one, not a boring one. Don't click away. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun history lesson. It's fun. If you are my dad or anyone else who knows nothing about this subject, you might be asking,
your daddy.
Why does this mustache mullet boy have so much impact over a website? But it's not just one boy we have to thank. There's 3 of them. Curtis, Danny,
3
Drew.
boys.
You don't have to remember their names, but just know that they are significant, and I'll tell you why. Back in the 2014 to 2016 era of YouTube, things were bad.
Things were much bad. Yeah, the YouTube culture was wild. You know, that's all you can really say, and all you can really do is move forward because it was crazy.
Culture around the website was mostly a reputation known for music videos, sketch comedies, parody.
A lot of racism, a lot of bigotry. Rough time. Good thing I wasn't on there on the internet back then because I would have been canceled right now. You know?
Prank videos, all with this underlying undercurrent of white nationalism and racism. The commentary genre, especially, was no longer about breaking apart interesting topics or trying to find the value in... No, it was mostly video game footage.
Well, let's be real. Most commentary nowadays is not trying to break parts down things and blah, blah, blah. Most of the time, it's just virtue signaling, pearl clutching, and complaining about dumb shit. By the way, I'm not free from that, baby. That's my whole fucking life. Boom. But I'm just okay with it. I'm okay. I mean, it is what it is, dude. I mean, it pays the bills, and I have fun. I'm a shit talker, dude. I'm a shit talker. I'm a little dramatic sometimes. I like the tea silently. I ask my wife, "What's going on with X, Y, or Z?" You know what I mean? Whoever that's a person's pronouns, by the way. But what's going on with this person or that person? I like the tea. I share the tea all the time. If you're in my wife's family, you're not safe. I know all of it, but I'll never tell because I also keep it to myself. That's why I'm good at it.
With a nasally voice over it, making fun of like a kid who posted themselves on TikTok.
Uh-oh.
I guess. There were a lot
Kids.
of feminist memes. The pedo frog, could mean a whole number of things.
Pee-pee frog.
Pedo bear was something people used, and there's no nuance in that. Vine, an app where videos could only be 6 seconds, its heart monitor flatlines in around 2016, which means everyone who had a career on that app now had the choice to move to the other video platform, which happened to be YouTube. Now, the content that did the best on Vine, and therefore made the most money, was children's content. And that did not change for a lot of people when they moved over to YouTube.
Was that just like Cocomelon?
It just meant their videos were longer, and... No, that was it. I guess just their awful videos could go longer. And I'm talking comedy like girls be like, boys when they see their girl for the first time.
Girls be like,
just bad,
oh,
bad
I
stuff.
farted.
Now the comedians on Vine with a shred of talent also moved to...
What did I just do? What did I just do there? What a joke did I just make?
YouTube and saw this weird fake
doing?
plastic commercialized Instagram comedy
Okay.
and just reacted to it because it was so absurd. So this side, Kurtis, Danny, and Drew just started reacting to them and making videos about it. And they were never mean. They were never harsh or wished like ill upon them. All they did was make goofy jokes about how silly and stupid the other content was.
Look at
They didn't use anti-feminist memes. They weren't anti-feminist.
Not very based.
You know, I think weird was the harshest word they used against it. We went from the nasally bullies to Vine dying to these content creators in their new style. And then, you know, we hit lockdown. And social commentary had already begun to expand beyond that's weird and turn into that's wrong. And we're calling out people who deserved it.
Okay.
And when the lockdown hit and we were all inside online all the time.
KD
Yeah, that's when I blew up.
Hey, sir, dad. First time catching a stream,
Nice.
son.
Thanks, brother. Oh, it's your dad. Oh, you're my dad. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, brother. It's been a long time. How you doing?
This was an effective way to gain an audience. Plenty of people were acting stupid in the lockdown years, and so there was endless content. And if you watched
True.
their videos and agreed with them, you
And there was a lot of people watching because people were home all the time. What a great time. I like how people are complaining this guy's not talking fast enough. The video's at 50% increase speed. Just so you know.
you'd likely return. And they were fun and like.
And it doesn't feel like it.
And
It really
I can't
doesn't.
emphasize how like well-intentioned these videos were, and yet still funny and enjoyable to watch.
That's
and that
cool,
lockdown
man.
seems to open the gates a little bit
Blazing the
for
fuck out of
a
them.
lot of smaller creators to rise with their own niche styles of commentary. A lot
Oh wow! All people in your own sphere, huh? Not even a single person outside of your own sphere.
of people were
Nerd.
looking online for comfort or for voices of reason, and there
the
seemed
fuck?
to be like an endless
I gotta
buffet of
kill a
choices.
horse.
And yes, I did sneak myself in there because 2020 was the year that I started this, and
Cool.
you know, they haven't caught me yet. And so you may look at this guy and see just a dude in a mullet, but I
Pretty much,
see
yeah.
someone who has
A
made it
huge
possible
cock.
for me to have a career online without needing to insult people, which I would never do. I don't think it is too grand of a statement to say that Kurtis Connor is one of the people
This
who
gonna
have
be
made
gone?
the YouTube landscape better. And so whoever you see in that image, I see someone important and someone to respect.
Okay, cool.
People can sometimes have friends, I've been told. And when your job is as fun as laughing at silly stuff online, of course you'd want to include your buddies in that. Pretty much from the very beginning, it was clear that Kurtis was in a trio of friends, also including Jacob Sharp and Dean.
Some call that a polycule nowadays, and that's not a Pokemon. So
Sure. Jacob and Dean would occasionally pop up in one of Kurtis's videos, and Kurtis would go
Okay.
onto one of their podcasts. Sometimes it would be
Cool.
just one of them. Sometimes it would be both. Sometimes it was on a channel all three of them had. But the point is that everyone in the Kurtis community pretty
Gotcha.
much knew
They
these
jacked
two
each other
people
off.
as
Cool.
members. I believe Dean refers to himself as a featured member. Editing Duncan, if you can find that, please roll that clip.
I'm a YouTuber. He's my friend.
And I'm a feature player.
Thank you, Editing Duncan.
Cool.
But because Kurtis was so popular, it just really helped boost Jacob and Dean pretty significantly up in their social profile numbers, which isn't bad. It doesn't mean they were leeching off of Kurtis or anything, but if anything, it meant
friends, I
that
get
Kurtis
it.
was like helping his friends rise up too. There's
Sure.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. It was a good example of friends building each other up, you know, and
Yeah,
that kind of
spanking
support
each other
is
off,
always
for
good
sure.
to see.
Oh, shit.
The light broke. Jacob took the route of growing his own channel. He makes similar content.
Hey, thank you so much for the 10-month sub from Kat. First time catching the stream. Love the channel. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Kurtis, a very
Jesus.
positive, goofy,
There's
lighthearted.
a horse.
Dean took the path of putting it into his podcasts and his stand-up comedy career. A few
Cool.
years into this rhythm, Kurtis announced that he was going to be on tour.
Good
and
for him.
as he went on tour across the country, he brought Jacob and Dean with him. Everybody saw
cool.
this as a huge win because not only
Annie
is
Toasty
Kurtis getting his
super
amazing
chatted
channel,
$1.99. Glazing for Kurtis Connor is crazy.
Well, listen. I have nothing against Kurtis Connor. Don't get too toxic about Kurtis. He's just not something. We don't resonate with that type of humor. You know, there's something to respect about non-edgy humor and making people laugh. You know, it's kind of easy to make people laugh with a bit of edgy humor. You throw out a slur, everybody's like, "Oh my god, you can't say that anymore." I just did. Just kidding. I don't say slurs usually. So, yeah, but just, you know, whatever. It's just a different sphere.
but he's being extra kind and bringing his friends with him. Everybody looks good here. I actually got to attend one of the Kurtis Connor shows here in Seattle, and it was pretty good. Jacob and Dean opened for him.
Cool.
They each took 30 to 45
Why don't
minutes.
you go meet him at the Home Depot? That joke probably makes no sense to most of you. But my brother-in-law, he's a gay guy. I love my brother-in-law. And he told me that men meet up at Home Depot and blow each other in the bathroom. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I was told by an expert. Okay. A Home Depot expert.
And for me, that was it. Right?
But unfortunately, I tested it myself, and it doesn't seem to be true, so I'm a little disappointed. Maybe I wasn't at the right Home Depot. I don't really know. I don't
Tour
know.
continued. I went back to making videos. I stopped thinking about them. Life returned to normal, and then boom, blackface photos.
All right. Now we're getting spicy, baby! How come they don't make a horror movie about, like, some 20-year-old that when he was 13 did blackface, and then he got captured and lost his entire job or something, you know?
My executive producer has some notes. Am I doing a good job?
Okay. Fuck the cat,
Thank you.
dude. Like
Starting
Shane
on the Kurtis
Dawson.
Connor subject, a lot of discussion started piling up over resurfaced photos of a costume party involving Jacob, a third unidentified person, and Dean
Okay.
in blackface. This is really bad.
Are you sure that's blackface? That looks kind of like it kind of looks like one of the boys from from Jersey Boys. What is it called? What's that New Jersey show called with the trash Italian people? Snooky's Adventures or Paulie D? I think it's Paulie D that I'm thinking of. No, I'm thinking of Mike. I'm being serious. Is that supposed to be a black guy or is that supposed to be Paulie D?
There's no way to excuse it. All of it is really just
Francisco
really
the
bad.
Disco super chatted
Francisco the
$5.
Disco, beautiful
Hi
name.
Pooper Gut, I am once again requesting you watch the abusive history of Boogie by the Decepticon, so I got something to listen to while I play Diablo
All right.
4.
I'll think about it. I don't know if I really want to do more Boogie. I'm a little bored of the guy, but we'll think about it, all right?
bad. It's a disgusting thing to see and for me to think about, so you can understand why it spread like wildfire on these forums. A lot of the users who
Well, how long ago did it happen? I mean, like, how long ago did it happen? You know, Jersey
for the
Shore.
first time were freaking out because this is a huge thing.
Oh, it's
But
huge.
a
I
lot
got
of other users were going,
Just
oh,
kidding.
yeah, that. As if this was a topic that had been brought up before, but
Oh.
it was unresolved.
Oh, so they brought up for okay.
And then very quickly after this, we get a Twitter apology video. And you have to wonder, how come
he didn't tell us when was this picture from? How long ago was it? It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I mean, it's wrong, but like it's not that big of a deal.
you apologize
He looked nice. He didn't look like a caricature. That's the thing. It's like it's wrong either way, but if you dress up like a caricaturized version of a black person, it's exponentially worse than just dressing up like a black celebrity or Paulie D or whatever. Because again, I'm not convinced. If I die here, I'm going to cry. All right. I'm not convinced. Oh, I got saved. Thank you, sir. All right, get away from me. But
for something indefensible. Badly.
Are you
It was an unhappy subreddit.
Hello.
no.
As many of you already know, there are some photos that have resurfaced of me in blackface.
Oh, and
from
super
Halloween party.
chatted $2.
Oh, Jesus.
First stream. You should check out Long Man.
What is a long man? I don't even know what that is.
Year 2014.
Wait, what?
Resurfaced of me in blackface from a Halloween party in the year 2014.
Oh, I don't care. 2014? Dude, this happened 9 years ago? I don't care. 9 years ago? What? 9 years ago. I don't care. Like, it's still edgy for 9 years ago, but it's not the same. 9 years ago, dude? What? Hold on. Kurtis Connor age. Kurtis Connor's 29. Now, I'm going to assume this guy's the same age as him. So they're 20 years old when they did a stupid blackface joke. Who cares? Honestly. Like, who cares? It's not that big of a deal, dude. Whatever.
My intentions at the time were in the nature of trying to have the most authentic costume possible, but clearly I was displaying
Okay. He probably does. He probably did mean that.
derogatory behavior and was incredibly uneducated.
So we get a year to place this.
Okay.
This costume party.
That's a fine response. Hey, when I was 20, I guess I did a blackface and I was trying to be like funny and like be like a black guy. That's, I don't know, Dennis Rodman. I don't know any black people, but and it didn't age well. It's like, okay, neither did I. I look like shit. You know what I mean? What am I supposed to apologize for that?
Happened in
Am I supposed to
2014,
apologize for losing my hair?
which, yes, means this was during that insufferable awkward stage where comedy meant white men can say whatever they want and then just call it edgy.
Okay.
This too many times.
Relax.
This is where I've seen a lot of defenses for Dean pop up, but in my
It's not a
opinion,
big deal.
2014 is not an excuse. Like, you were grown
is.
then, and you should have known better.
To be honest with you, I don't consider 20-year-olds grown now. They're not grown. They're immature. That doesn't mean that you remove all agency from them, but dude, it's an edgy joke from 2014. Like, we're going to be okay. You know, I will say that one of the things that drives me up a wall is like people who pretend to be left leaning, who don't engage in like left leaning mentality. Left leaning mentality is about the ability to grow and move on from bad stuff. Yeah, I'll apologize for being diabetic. Drew, I should. So that's my thing. It's like people on the left will be like, listen, if somebody's in jail, they should have a second chance, even if they did something heinous. Okay, like I can agree, based depending on what it is. Of course, there needs to be more specific. But then it's like, you know, a white guy did blackface 10 years ago when he was 20 years old. Oh well, we can't forgive that. Why? Why? Like, why can't that be forgiven? Like, I don't have to. I'm not going to forgive them specifically because I'm not black. It's not offending me. But like, why contribute to a dog pile? Like, what's the constructive nature of it? Like, why can't people move on from their bad mistakes? You know, you absolutely argue that, like, generally speaking, racism is something that is learned from whoever you're around, and your environment has an impact on that racism. I'm not saying it doesn't make it somebody's fault. People still have to have a level of accountability, but like, what's the proportionality here? I would say apologize and don't do it again. Like, what else are we supposed to do? Like, how do we engage with this? It sounds to me like we're trying to keep something that happened 9 years ago as relevant as possible 9 years later in a rapidly evolving climate, because with the internet, we've rapidly changed. We've moved forward rapidly, which is not a bad thing. And we've shifted drastically. So I would argue 10 years ago, things were even more culturally different than, you know, like 10 years ago from today are drastically culturally different than like 2000, from like 1950 to 2000, right? Because I would just say we evolved so quickly on the internet. It's like, why? Yeah, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Kesha sang that song, right?
Also, him addressing the wanting to be authentic of his costume is probably the best way he could have approached why he was in full body.
Yeah, dude, if he's trying to dress like a Belle Biv DeVoe or something, I mean, if you want to be authentic, you got to put the makeup on. You shouldn't, but...
Face, like, it was arms and legs, like, it didn't end at face.
Okay. I mean, that's just, if anything, that makes him look better. It makes it look like he wasn't trying to make it as a joke or be disrespectful. He was just trying to dress up like whoever.
This is something that I will regret for the rest of my life because it was nothing but racist.
Okay.
Black people are not a novelty. They are not costumes. They are not characters.
Okay.
They are human beings.
He says, I'm going to regret this for the rest of my life.
Cool.
Which is starting to sound like standard YouTube apology talk because...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like definitely... The reason it sounds like standard YouTube apology talk is this is what should happen. Yeah, guys, like 10 years ago, I did blackface, dressing up like a black person for Halloween. I meant no disrespect, but now I realize that's obviously wrong. Based on today's standards, I wish I never did it. It's a shameful thing, and then you would move on. It sounds performative because you're begging for a performance. That's one of the reasons why people give you performative apologies, because you beg for the performance. You want people to be disproportionate, but then you go, why does this feel disproportionate? Well, you're asking for it to be. You're asking for it to be disproportionate. You're asking for it to be far exceeding what is actually necessary. So...
You're going to start now or then? When does the regretting start? When you learned it was racist or when you got caught?
I wanted to do this because it's only right. I've had so many lapses in judgment.
Same here, man. Same here.
I have hurt so many people that have caused pain and left people offended.
Okay.
So he uses the term lapses in judgment, which unfortunately just seals his fate, whether this was an accident or not.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
He mentions I've hurt / caused so much pain.
So we're at a point now where it's clear to me that this person would never accept an apology from this other guy. So like, what is even the point of this guy making the video? I think that right now we should hold the expectation. Like, what do you think the path? This is the thing. This is something that we should really normalize. When people criticize somebody for a behavior, I think that we should we should start trying to normalize. What do you think what do you think the punishment should be? Or what do you think, what can the person do to redeem themselves? Because I think that would be really telling. You know, like, what do you think he should do to redeem himself? I just think the apology and moving forward is fine. But you might think differently. So what do you think? Well, I think he should ruin his career shouldn't exist. Like, imagine he said that. You'd be like, well, that's fucking crazy. That seems rather disproportionate. And then you might be like, you know what? I don't really want to listen to this guy anymore, you know?
To so many people over the years, which we will get to later. But the first time I was watching this, I heard that and I was like, what? This has happened before? What have you done before? What did he mean to say that?
Okay.
I really hoped that this would never get out.
I mean, I just feel like people in general have lapses in judgment all the time as people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's that hard of a take, is it?
that this would never come to
Yo,
the
don't
surface,
fucking
but
kill me, dude.
it's
I'll
only right
cry.
that it did.
Let's
Are you
just
serious?
stop and take a minute and let that sit.
There's nothing to really
Because
sit.
that is what made me want to make an entire video about this in the first place.
I don't think that's true. I think you wanted to make a video about this because you come off as virtuous, and you were going to. This is just like an additive so that you can be like, you could spin a narrative like, oh my god, this guy does this all the time. Holy fuck. he's a
Everywhere the
bad guy.
video's gone,
I'm gonna
everywhere
die.
it's going, everywhere it's went. It's all come from this.
My
I
fucking weapon
really
skills
hope
are
this
still
would
leveling
never
up.
get out.
I'm gonna die.
I wonder
Okay, I
what
would
it's
too, I
like
guess.
to spend years of energy and effort to create a job around yourself,
hit me.
around your personality, around your values, knowing that somewhere out there, this existed.
Who cares? Like, why can't people grow as people? I don't
Even if you
understand.
didn't know how bad it was then,
What?
when you did learn, wouldn't that deter you from going down a career that starts and ends with your first and last name? I don't know
What? What the hell are you talking about? What do you mean?
the details of whether there was a digital evidence
Are you trying to say that like if somebody does a bad thing, they shouldn't make a career? I don't understand the point. What are you saying?
of this photo, or it was just on someone's hard drive, or if a third party person had it. I don't know. But why would you ever want a career in the public eye knowing that there is a non-zero chance this could get out someday?
What? This is so weird, dude. That's a mistake. It's
Why
not
would
a
you
big
risk it?
deal.
Why just hope that it stays hidden?
What?
Why go into business with other people, let alone your friends,
What are you
when
talking
you
about?
know
You sound
that
on
you
edge.
have that dark cloud hanging above you somewhere?
It-
That's what I don't
You gotta
get.
change your name if you've ever done something that might be perceived as racist, guys.
That's where
Good
this
to know.
video is coming
Bro,
from.
stop attacking me, dude!
Let's keep
Oh,
watching.
Jesus.
You wait on me for so many years, and there's nothing I can do or explain to justify it.
Ooh, I'm gonna pop in here real quick with a controversial opinion and say that yes,
Yeah, you can. You just say like, hey, it was a different time. I didn't realize it was racist. He actually did say something that justified it. Stop trying to feed into these bloodthirsty idiot audiences.
there was something you could have done about it.
Oh, you coulda
Let's
just
say
went-
that someone
You could have went back in time and stopped yourself.
this happened to them, right? They
All
had
right.
something from their past get dug up.
Yeah.
And we're in this controversy.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing that they shouldn't have done. It offends a group of people. It threatens their career. Blah blah blah. We're familiar with this. That's now. And then there was when this happened.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle, I'm assuming you knew that it was wrong. And in between the time you knew it was wrong
So you should also come forward about all the bad things you did.
and now, that was your window to do something about it. This is my
We wanted to do.
hot take that I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it is possible to publicly come out.
Hey guys, sorry I said I've said the bad slurs before. So if it comes out, I did it and it's not good. Do you guys feel better? Like, what do you want me to like? What?
And apologize for something you did.
It's just like a guilty conscience. Why? I feel like it's really weird to expect somebody to come out about all the bad things that they've ever done in their life before. Like, okay,
Before anyone else finds it
why?
and still manage to have a career. You don't have to show the pictures or play the audio tapes or like present exactly what you did.
Okay, and then then like whatever rabid audience that you engage with is just going to like go after him just the same anyway. The problem with people not you want to know the biggest reason why people aren't going to admit their mistakes is because there's no atmosphere that allows them to move forward from it. And ironically, like I said, it's progressives who don't allow that atmosphere, even though they're the ones always preaching that you can change and better yourself.
But describe it, be honest, and apologize to whatever community or communities you were offending at the time.
Okay.
Then dedicate a good portion of your time and your career to reparations and paying back to that community.
What? Get the fuck out of here. Wait, so this guy dressed up in blackface once, so now he has to spend his like a significant portion of his career paying reparations for what? Nobody got hurt. No black person died because he did blackface. If anything, I doubt black people care nearly as much as you do about this. This is just what are you talking about?
You hurt, knowing that some of
What are you talking
Time 12
about?
super
What the
chatted
fuck?
$4.99.
This is crazy.
Papa, I'm sorry for wanting to watch this. Bro is just a bit of yapper, also first time watching the stream.
Thank you.
Are you a fart smeller or a smart fella?
I'm definitely a fart smeller, buddy. Thank you.
them might still not forgive you. Donate a portion of your monthly profits.
No,
Have every fourth
never.
comedy show, for example, go to support a local fundraiser. Go
No, never. I'll support Salvation Army. I'm not even going to explain that joke. I don't really support them. My wife hates them for reasons. But okay.
to events, raise awareness, do
They're homophobic, guys.
something. Don't Just wait.
So if you've ever done something racist before, like, or said something racist before, you have to donate a significant portion of your income to a racial cause or racial cause. What the fuck? No way. That's insane. I'll keep voting Democrat, and then they can take my money and give it to black people and other disaffected people who are the victim of systemic circumstances. Okay. Unironically.
It's completely unacceptable, and I'm absolutely ashamed that there once was a version of me that thought this was acceptable.
The secrets of the past that will destroy someone's career will come out. Because they just will. They always do.
Good.
My
Bring 'em on,
genre
baby.
of YouTube has been covering like 100 of these
I've already told you that's an AI recording of me saying that word, okay? So
a year. It's always going to come out. And if you know you've done this horrible thing that would potentially ruin your career in the public eye, you always have the option not to be an influencer. Or, someone who's trying to gain the trust of an audience. Someone whose face is...
I feel like the people who are like the harshest against other people for doing bad things in the past are ones that like have their own shit in the closet and they're like overcompensating. I feel like that's true. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like that's true.
Product. If you have a past of edgy comedy that you know is bad,
I still have a presence of edgy
job
comedy
backstage, or maybe you ghostwrite for someone.
Like take it in the ass. All right, I'm down with that.
Or maybe you are part of a team that does influencing, but you're just not at the forefront. You should still be...
Why? This is insanely disproportionate. If you ever made a racist joke, you can't exist. Why? And either way, even if that's true and you found out about it, you would cancel the person for associating with the horrible racist that dressed up like fucking Pauly D. What are you talking about?
Doing reparations, but you just don't have to say
How about
why.
you need to donate to children charities for getting canceled for the... Okay, stop.
If you did something bad, you should atone for it.
Oh, Jesus.
And you can do that without all of this public humiliation.
Gotcha.
I do believe
Thanks,
that
man. I
somehow
appreciate your
that's
guidance.
possible. Because instead,
Cool
when you
beans,
wait
brother.
for it to be found, it means the entire time you've been known, you're guilty.
Okay.
And every version of
I'm assuming this guy didn't like sit down and like really go like, oh my God, like this is like, it's not that big of a deal what he did. So what is he supposed to always think about it? It's haunting him in the middle of the night.
ever appeared on camera or heard on audio is someone who deep down knows about this thing that they did and is hoping that nobody finds out and is just coasting on that hope.
This is insane. This video is unhinged.
But you're guilty. You know you did this, and you know that we don't know. But that won't last forever. Every time you've ever been shown on camera, you now have a face
We're gonna
of
increase
guilt.
the speed.
To
Okay.
be honest, the night of that party, the reality of my wrongdoing was met with swift justice. I was hit in the back of the head by a person of color, and rightfully so.
That's funny. Well, that's funny. Good. There you go. That's some reparations right there for you get smacked in the face. You know what I mean? You guys remember there was a story a while ago. People were really pissed at me for whatever reason. I don't give a fuck. But there was this story from a while ago. This black dude was working at McDonald's, and this old man went through the drive-thru, and he was having a problem with the black guy working there because he couldn't hear the order or something because he's old. Fucking old people are annoying as shit. And so he goes inside, and he calls the black guy the N-word. So the black guy goes, say it again. And he says it again. He punches him in the face. He falls down. He cracks his head open. And I said, okay. You know, of course, from a legal perspective, violence is never the answer. But morally, you deserve to get hit if you're going to do something like that. Okay, there you go. There's your atonement. You got smacked by a black guy. Cool. You know what I mean? That's funny. Like, that's it. That's life. Good. He deserved it. Move on. Life goes on. There you go. He paid his reparations.
Did not just say swift justice. You can't call it swift justice just because it happened directly after the event.
That's literally what swift justice is. No, it's not. Swift is quick. It's quick. Swift. It is literally would be swift justice.
That's not justice. It's just swift. Dean, you getting smacked.
Hold on. I gotta look up definition. Swift. Happening quickly. Okay. And I'm assuming getting hit by a black guy for doing blackface. That is justice. It quite literally is swift justice. What are you talking about? It's definitionally the truth.
Upside the head was a consequence.
It's
one that, if you gave critical thought, might have made you realize that what you did was wrong.
But I think that's what he's saying, though. Is swift justice. He got what he deserved. That's what he's saying to us right now. What are you talking about?
Doesn't sound like that was enough.
Since this incident, I've definitely made a concerted effort to learn more about the history of blackface, and I've actually learned more about systemic racism in the past 5 years than I have my entire life.
Cool, good for you, man.
Congrats, man. It's good that you're trying to grow from this, but
I gotta get it. I
you
want to go
staying
back
up
with
late
the supply.
reading at the library about racism doesn't change the fact that you did it. And
What is dude? What is he supposed to do? There's no pathway. This guy just literally needs to dust off himself. Apparently, that's all he's saying. This guy couldn't do anything. There's a completely unrealistic expectation. Like there's nothing he could do to recover. That's what this guy's saying. Oh, so you got punched by a black guy for doing something racist? Well, that's not justice. I think it is. What? Oh, like, oh, you educated yourself on systemic, which probably isn't even true. You educated yourself on systemic racism? Well, that's not enough. What is he supposed to do, dude? If you want to question the authenticity of that, that's fine. But there's literally nothing else that he could do. I mean, you're telling him he needs to give up a portion of his income like he's paying a fucking church off. That's the only thing that you can do? That's insane.
then tried to hide it. At some point, who cares what you've learned when you had to get caught?
I know that youth
Okay.
ignorance is not. That's not an excuse. Those aren't excuses.
It is an
I wanna take
excuse.
this opportunity
Yes,
to
it is.
learn.
Being young is an
Bro,
excuse.
I thought you had grew. He said he'd grown already, right?
Okay.
Like he'd been growing. Your growth means nothing if there's no visible
God,
progress.
this is such
and it's not visible because you
brain rot,
didn't want us
dude.
to know about this. We'd have to know about the picture to know if you were making progress. Otherwise, these are just empty words that mean nothing that we've all
Okay.
heard before.
You-
In the year 2019 and the year 2022, I addressed this issue on my podcast, but I realized that was only because it was my own platform. It's a place where I feel comfortable.
Oh, wait, he addressed it on his own platform already? Wait, he already did the thing you told him to do. What are you talking about? He apparently addressed it on his platform. Isn't that what you said that he should do? Address it before it comes out?
Talking about who I am and who I was, I realized I only had no problem with it because it was at my discretion.
Saying
Bold of you to leave that into your video because that makes you look stupid. Like, you were like, he should have said something before it came out. But apparently he did. Oh, it's not enough. What?
I addressed this in an apology
What?
is just wild to me. Dean's idea to bring up that
What?
he's addressed this topic twice over a 3-year period somewhere in his podcast is a very interesting choice to bring up.
Why?
And
Is
I
it
say
not
interesting
true?
because you got me. I am not going to listen to your entire podcast to try
Oh,
and find an exact
okay.
quote of when you brought this up. So that was a clever move because I don't have any exact quotes.
Oh.
But I'm just going to assume that when you addressed it, if we did have those exact quotes and we played them out right now, they aren't going to live up to the level of this apology.
Sure, let's see what we got.
Addressed it?
You got to show us that. Like you're saying that it wasn't enough. You can't say I'm not going to go look for it, but I guarantee you it wasn't enough. You can't. You literally you did an hour. This has been 26 minutes on a picture of blackface so far. You couldn't have done the extra legwork.
That could mean anything.
Make it clear that this was solely my decision. This does not reflect the values of my friends, my family.
Oh,
or-
the Papa Gut moments. That's the Papa Gut out of context stuff. You can go look at the newest Rob and Dan video, and you can see the sources in the description if you want to do it that way.
or any of my collaborators.
Well, no, because Jacob's right there. It might have been your initial idea, but
Okay.
he's right there, like, not stopping you. In fact, everybody at that party who saw you, besides the people who smacked you, had the chance to address it with you and I guess didn't. And sure,
Okay.
again, it
Well, he
was
got hit,
2014.
so-
Maybe nobody felt comfortable addressing how racist
Okay.
what you were doing was. But that just means that you all knew it was wrong and just didn't want to say anything.
I know
But
that
he did say something. He did literally. You showed us that he apparently talked about it before. So he did say something on his podcast 3 times apparently.
I know that a lot of you have already made your mind up about me, and I'm sorry that I let you down.
Okay.
I never deserved to be accepted by this community.
I will admit, I hoped this would never come out is definitely the sentence that sticks out in my mind the most.
Yeah.
But this is a
why?
close second. I never deserved to be accepted by this community.
Don't touch my major role, bitch.
Is he admitting that he knew this fact the whole time, or is it something that he's learning right now? Also,
Bro, the whole apology is just some virtue signal bullshit. Like, obviously, that's really what's happening. Oh, he's gonna get my Brythorn, you bitch. That's what it like. That's the apology's ingenuine because it's disproportionate to what's actually happening. But you want it to be even more disproportionate. That's why he's at like, okay.
what community? Because we can't tell what he's thinking. He's
Okay.
using very vague words.
I bet
that-
he's thinking bad words. If we cancel him, harder.
I don't want to call it clever because that would be giving him credit, but if he wanted to be mysterious, it's working.
You think he's
Okay,
hot?
but-
Like mysterious?
I want to apologize and be held accountable for my actions.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Cool. What an
Okay,
important video.
so, newsflash, I'm white, and blackface is not something that will ever target me, so I can't accept his apology, or even really comment on whether or not he did a good job or not, based on that exact fact. His
Okay.
actions are ones that hurt the black community, so seek out responses from black
So shouldn't you be the one to seek out responses from black people, since this is your video where you're supposedly trying to fight for some kind of systemic justice. Like, I do think it's a little funny that you're like, well, I can't accept the apology. That's for a black person to do. Oh, do you have a black creator you'd like to platform right now that you think could accept the apology or give their commentary? No. I don't have any of those. I don't know black people. I don't really know any black people, so I can't really do anything for you there. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's like, what are you doing?
People, not from white people like me. Again, I'm reviewing. At the
So
time of me
give us a
recording this,
black
there's
person.
been
So promote a black creator that's like smaller than you to give their commentary on it. Give that person like 10 minutes in the video to give it to them. Plug them. It's like always the funniest thing. Like this whole thing is disproportionate and unnecessary, but you're like throwing away perfect opportunities, and you know that you are, of promoting a black creator on a topic that's relevant to that. Why don't you do that? I don't get it. Like you're going on you're having like a fucking meltdown over it. Platform a black creator.
response from Jacob or Kurtis about the status of Dean in their business or in their friendships. Sorry to interrupt, but we now have an apology from Jacob. I was trying on my Halloween costume, so I'm going to be dressed weird, but here we go.
Okay.
Some photos are going around of Dean in blackface, and I'm in the photo as well. I know many of you have been waiting for me to address this, and I'm sorry for making anyone wait. Dean and I have been friends for a long time, and he's close to my heart, but this is one of many actions over the years that have deeply upset me.
Okay.
It's ignorant, harmful, and most of all racist.
Gotcha.
And yet, I am still standing beside him in the photos and not taking it seriously. This is the epitome of being a bystander. I wish I had tried harder to stop it from happening or remove myself from the situation entirely, but I didn't.
Okay.
Halfway through,
Cool.
it seems like he's very genuine. This reads very, I don't want to say believable, but, you know, it's honest. He calls himself a bystander. He calls what it was racist, you know. The thing that's
Gotcha.
throwing me off is this is one of many actions over the years that have deeply upset me.
I just want to be clear. It's never going to be good enough. He's going this position of this person has been consistently clear. He's going to look at somebody's response or something they've said. He's going to somewhat agree with a part of it to make himself seem reasonable, and then he's going to spin it in a way that makes it seem like the person didn't respond correctly or proportionally. The guy's like, "Hey, I should have done something and I didn't." And I think we've all been there. We've all been around friends who've done some dumb shit. Who've done or said some dumbass shit, and like you could have done more, but you're like, okay, man, like whatever, and you just kind of like brush it off, and then you get older and you're like, yeah, maybe I should have done something more, maybe I should have been, you know, whatever. We've all been there before, of course, like yeah, and that's it. But again, it's not enough because how many other things are there? It's like, okay, all right.
So there's more actions that potentially we don't know about. I don't know. I don't know. That's fine. But so far, Jacob seems legitimately sorry. That is something I was and continue to be deeply sorry for. I have always looked back on those pictures with embarrassment, and since then, I have made huge strides on speaking up when I see something I disagree with.
Great.
As for my relationship with Dean, it has continued as it has because I have seen him grow over these incidents and over the years. I believe he will continue to make changes in his life and efforts to improve his character, and beyond that, I will let him speak for himself. For the time being, I'll be going on the upcoming tour by myself. As far as Notes app apologies go, I'd say this one is really good. And again,
here
I
we
am
go.
not in the party
Holy
of people who
shit.
can forgive him for this. I am just saying that this is a very well-spoken
Right,
and
great.
honestly worded apology. The two things that just stick out in my ADHD brain is I have always looked back on those pictures with embarrassment, which means
He's actively looking at them, and he still didn't say anything about it.
the photos were somewhere that they knew about. They knew the photos existed and were quiet about it. The second is when he's talking about Dean, I believe he will continue to make changes in his life, improve his character. It's worded as if he's going to keep going, you know, or there's going to be another round of trying to teach him to be better.
What?
I don't know if he is better now or like not as racist, but if his friend has hope that he's going to improve, on the one hand, it's like who else would know better than a friend? But on the other, it's also biased potentially. They're business partners as well as friends. It's just that this has
became a
unique
member.
layers of
Thank you so much for the membership, brother. Fuck, I'm out of here.
honesty that you want to be able to see through, and it's really impossible to, really, on all sides.
became
So
a
that was the
member.
apology
What's happening here? Thank you for the membership.
from Jacob, and I will be back if there is an update from Kurtis.
Cool.
A response from Jacob is owed, because he's right there in the photos. He is directly
Okay.
involved. He's there. He needs to say something. A lot of people are also demanding Kurtis do something,
Why?
which is interesting, because
Was he supposed to kill him? Like, what is he
Kurtis
supposed
isn't
to
there.
do?
He's not at the party, as far as we know. We don't even know if he knew about this. Sure, Kurtis is Dean's friend and all, but does Kurtis have a responsibility to be involved in this?
No. Why would he? It's not a current behavior. What does it matter? Why does he like need to speak out? He's gonna get pressured into, but none of this matters. Like,
Why are people looking to Kurtis over actions that Dean has done? This is a topic.
because the internet is fucking ravenous and disproportionate and full of virtue bullies that have no room for growth ever, and like you. And so they feel compelled to say something to respond to their fucking psychotic fan base. That's it. That's all it boils down to, baby.
That can be approached at many angles, and believe me, people are. Yes, Kurtis gave Jacob and Dean their original exposure, but he's not in the photos unless he's taking the picture, and speculating about that would be a waste of time. Yes, Kurtis put Jacob and Dean in his tour, which was actively making them money, but also they're his childhood friends, and he shouldn't be blamed for wanting to boost his friends into cementing their own paths. We already have the apology from Dean. That should be the end of the story, right? That someone does something
it should be. I wish.
wrong in their past, then they apologize, and then the community decides if they forgive it or not.
You just spent 30 minutes talking about how it was never enough. So, like, I don't know why you've even... This video is full of, like, inconsistencies from point to point.
Isn't that how it goes? Isn't that where it should be contained? You probably have your own answers to these questions, and I'm
like you've been going on about how his apology isn't enough, and now you're like, yeah, well, you should just make an apology and move forward, right? Okay.
Through mine, which is multi-layered. Sorry. Okay. Expecting perfection from anyone is unrealistic, and I don't need to be running around throwing diagnoses all over the place. I think Kurtis has a weakness in being able to not look past that barrier of friendship. I have 2 points of evidence for this, and here they are. The first time we saw a Dean defense was when they were both invited onto a internet show that they both actively made fun of on their own channel called Bestie Picks Bae. Yes, it is as strange as it sounds. One contestant sits blindfolded in a chair with like a police lineup of girls behind them, and their friend asks a series of questions in order to
That sounds very misogynistic. We should cancel him for that too.
The final girl that matches his friend with the most chemistry. As far as internet shows go, it's weird, but the fact that the people behind the show were willing to have Kurtis and Dean on, despite them making fun of, it shows that at least the people behind it were, pretty cool people. One could argue that Kurtis did too good of a job of being a wingman here, because the girl that won and was matched with Dean actually started hanging out with him beyond the shoot. They took photos together, they made videos together, it seemed like these two really got along. The first thing that people and Justine seemed to notice was that when they were filming a video reacting to that episode, Dean was making jokes about the other girls that seemed to be way too harsh.
Thank you. I hope you find your future day.
Just milking camera time. Good luck with everything. Hey, go.
Just milking camera time? Is that a harsh joke?
Can't eat them, but I can.
Sorry, I have to slow it down because these people talk normal speed. This other guy making the video talks at insanely fast speeds.
Okay, good luck with everything. Thank you. I hope you find your future day.
Just milking camera time.
Okay.
Good luck with everything. Hey, go. Biggest I've ever met in my life.
What? What did he say? He said something about being mean? Something a little mean?
Can't eat them.
Hey, go. Biggest I've ever met in my life.
Can't eat them,
I don't know what he says. Who cares?
but I can.
He was insulting their looks,
Oh no, he insulted their looks on a weird dating show. Crazy.
how they talked. He even seemed to be disclosing information he saw while the cameras weren't running.
Wow.
And just
He was a rapist, I think,
seemed a
personally.
little shocked that he was going this far. And up until this point, people had known Dean as Kurtis's friend, so suddenly,
Okay.
where is this coming from? Why is Dean so different? This wasn't a side of him that they knew. Even later, Justine came forward with pictures of paragraphs of text between her and Dean, and they're not good. She was basically
What was she saying? What did he do to her? What did he say? What did he say?
excited, which is understandable as a fan. So she was tweeting about it, and she was asking Dean to record a personal hello message for her brothers and one of her friends.
Cool.
And in the messages, Dean comes down on her pretty hard, accusing her of using him for fame. How she
Okay, cool. Who cares?
was moving too fast, and that he was starting to back off. And how
Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe she just won the competition, and maybe he felt a little overwhelmed and felt like she only wanted to talk to him because he's famous or something. Okay, who cares?
she can't expect him to spend his entire time catering to her.
Okay, who cares? I'm not going to read the messages. This is your interpretation, though. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Distracting. And as soon as Justine shared these texts, the conversation on Dean pivoted very hard. And
Whoa,
when Justine
terrible.
released these pictures, the stir around Dean just whipped up more. And so
Crazy.
Dean had to put out a public apology to not only Justine, but to her brothers and the friends
Why? Because she decided to leak messages? Like, she's the bitch here. What are you talking
about how he had gone too far. The second Dean defense happened when a bunch of old tweets of his resurfaced online. And much like all old tweets that
Shit.
resurfaced,
Oh, God. That's how old? Like 10 years?
bad. Those tweets, and there were a lot of them,
Okay, let's see what we got here. I got some racist tweets. Are Asians and Arabs black now? They can be. I guess always happens when I see those black guys that just end up being Indian. What are these? How old are these? Tired of going to the bars to meet single women. Gonna try the abortion clinic. That one is kind of funny though. Every hot white girl is at a basketball game is thinking about which black guy they would want. Fuck them. Tired of women comedians. These individuals wearing sweatpants, being stealthy racist is
Contain some of the
one of my best qualities.
Of
and this one says the F slur. Okay.
Racism, homophobia, sexism. Like, calling them jokes isn't fair. They're more like statements.
Yeah, no, that's definitely wrong. You had the ability to be invisible, you'd be a rapist. Incredible. Yeah, definitely wrong. How old are they, though? I really need that context, and it seems like you've intentionally edited it out. It's always wrong, of course, but again, in a very edgy online sphere where this isn't or wasn't monitored by... Oh, there it is. From 2013? I don't care. 10 years ago? Did you even mean to show us that this is from 2013? Because every other of the other ones were, and he did it from a BlackBerry. Twitter from BlackBerry, dude. You can't fault anybody for using it that uses a BlackBerry. Come on, dude. Come on.
Statements. It just reopened the whole case against Dean.
Yeah. He did a bad thing, and then people got upset, so they started digging into his past, and they found out that when he did the bad thing, he was actually a bad guy. And it's like, okay, cool, great.
Same energy that they seemed to have unresolved from the first time. This wasn't just a complicated relationship.
Cool.
These were offensive jokes, and they wanted accountability. And so Dean made another public apology, showing remorse for his old behavior and promising that...
I'm shocked and appalled at the fact I was capable of being so ignorant. Okay. Listen, just do what I do. Be racist quietly. Don't put it on the internet. I'm just kidding, dude. I'm not just right. No, but seriously, like the biggest issue is that you felt so bold to put that on the internet. Like it's like that's even more of an issue that you didn't even hide it. Like that really was a bigger problem to me. But okay, whatever. If you guys don't want to watch him anymore, just don't watch him. Okay, fine.
He was changing.
What does this have to do with fucking Kurtis Connor?
Going with this, these aren't the Dean defenses that matter. They don't. When people were looking for acknowledgement and reactions and accountability, they weren't looking at Dean. People wanted a response from Kurtis about Dean. On paper, that makes sense because Kurtis has a huge platform that Dean is occasionally on. And so, if
it makes sense as to why they would want that response.
They're friends so publicly, it would make sense that he should have, at least an opinion to comment on. That seems fine. I don't see a problem with people asking for that.
Okay.
That seems within reason to me. But there were people asking for an apology, and then there were people demanding an apology, and understandably so. The racism and sexism and homophobia that was in Dean's jokes didn't seem to be completely countered by his apology, and so they wanted Kurtis to acknowledge this and to acknowledge it for real. Some people pointed out the fact that the actions Dean was showing is something that Kurtis would be making fun of in a video of his, making Kurtis a hypocrite if he doesn't respond to this. And when people are banging on your door, it makes sense that you might swing the door back open at them.
No, I would just call the cops. Words as requested.
In the Bestie vs. Bay story, Kurtis posts to YouTube. Okay, to everyone commenting, I have contacted and apologized to Justine. I tweeted explaining why I blocked her in the first place, and it was about something entirely different. And to everyone saying the thing about your only personality trait, I never said that. I'm sorry he said that about you guys, because he never should have. If he said that to me, I would be livid. His words do not reflect how I feel or how I see my subscribers. I love you guys so much, and I work very hard on my videos for you guys. And reading your guys' comments is literally the highlight of my week. I would never, ever even think about saying that. This is all I could find on the subreddit in terms of photos, but him referencing the blocking Justine because Justine...
Sure, sounds fine. It's a fine apology. It doesn't matter.
Kurtis had blocked her on top of everything going on with Dean. Some undetermined time later, Kurtis posts what appears to be an Instagram story. I've been getting a lot of tweets questioning my character based on what Dean said, and I want to assure everyone that I do not agree or support what he said at all. I've made it abundantly clear in all of my videos that I am a feminist and I support women. On top of that, the things that were said towards his fans in no way reflect how I see my fans. I literally would not be able to do what I love to do without you guys, and I try my hardest to go above and beyond every single day to make sure you can all feel good about supporting me and my content.
Cool.
Just because he said something does not mean I think or... And that is all in terms of documentation. Whoops, never mind. I found this, which I think is a series of tweets, so it might have not been an Instagram story, or it might have been both.
Okay, cool.
But it continues saying, just because he said something does not mean...
This is literally the super mega cancellation using a person connected to a larger YouTuber to cancel that YouTuber with weekend basis accusations. Yeah, sounds about right.
I think or feel the same way at all. I'm not happy with this either, but thank you to everyone looking out for me, and I apologize to everyone who was hurt. So the uproar over Dean and Justine seems to be addressed by Kurtis in a tone of what Dean did was wrong, and it really focuses in on how Dean says that the subscribers don't matter to them. Both of Kurtis' posts mention that, so it's clear that it's important to him and/or it was being brought up a lot by the community. Sometime later, and Dean's old tweets are brought up, and the Kurtis Connor subreddit goes into a frenzy trying to break into it. And I do believe it is significant to point out that this is happening on Reddit.
Dude, I cannot believe we're 44 minutes into this video, and it's about a dude that dressed in blackface and said some racist shit. And like, okay, like, yeah, that's bad. Why is this so, what is happening here? This seems like such a fucking pearl clutch.
where the most dedicated of his fans go to collect and meet. And so if they are the ones who are mad, it makes sense why addressing them directly instead of over Instagram or Twitter would be the move Kurtis made.
Okay.
They were Dean's tweets. Dean apologized on Twitter, but it's Reddit where most of the chaos is happening. Kurtis responds to the new wave of anger towards Dean, both for his tweets and for Kurtis supporting him, in this comment on Reddit. I've already addressed this a bunch of times, but I'll do it again because I would like to stick up for my friend. If he really was as bad as some people on the internet say he is, I would simply not be his friend, you know? Also, he did apologize tons of times and has grown a lot over the past few years, and I've literally seen it firsthand. That whole situation was a few years ago.
They're locking it so I can't increase beyond a certain point because it's classic. Gotcha.
Was full of weird stuff that went on behind the scenes, and we're all just trying to move on from it for years now.
Cool.
I understand your concern, and I appreciate you, but honestly, if you don't like the guy, then don't watch his content.
Yeah, fuck the guy
and
in
the
his
last
butt.
one is a response to a deleted Reddit comment saying, very surprised Kurtis is still friends with him. Thought he was better than that. And Kurtis's comment being, I'd be a pretty terrible guy if I ended friendships with people every time they made a mistake. I've
Yeah, true. Actually, kind of based.
talked to him about everything. He's grown a lot as a person, and he's apologized and owned up countless times.
Cool.
I'm sorry, but it's so weird to get mad at me for hanging out with my friend. The thorough line between
Yeah, based. Thank you so much for the 12-month medium gut from Super Brother, Super Bro. Papa Gut, more like Papa Butt. Incredible. Okay.
in these two Reddit responses Kurtis made is the fact that Dean is his friend. You can see it in, if he really was that bad, I would simply not be his friend. Or, it's so weird to get mad at me for hanging out with my friend. I don't think those are words to just spice up an apology. I think he means that. He and Dean really are friends.
Obviously he means that because that's counterintuitive to his apology, right? That means it's probably genuine. And people expect Kurtis to completely cut this guy off, say he's the worst person in the world, and move forward. And he's not doing that. And that's something I can respect. You're supposed to have a high value on your friends and friendship. You're supposed to know things about them that like their intentions. You're supposed to be able to understand their true intentions. And so like if he's like, yeah, my friend made some racist jokes, but I know he's not that person, that's expected. And so yeah, there's nothing else there. Like that's how you're supposed to interact. It's cool. Like,
despite Dean's questionable past and Kurtis's current job. To be frank, I don't think we're getting the complete story going into a subreddit that's been locked down with hundreds of deleted comments, and the only information we have are really small screenshots of cut up posts. But I think we can get the picture on what Kurtis's perspective on this is. And that's what makes all of this so interesting to me, because it is Kurtis's career put on trial for his association with his childhood friend and his past mistakes. And to address that to a crowd of your fans can't be easy. The first response is clear in saying Dean was wrong for saying what he said, and that Kurtis does not believe in it. The second series of posts are defending Dean as Kurtis's friend, and Kurtis is almost sharing his values with Dean. Because these are screenshots on the internet, you get to believe what you want to believe off of this, but it does make what's coming up next very, very intriguing.
Why? What could possibly be found
Basically,
out?
he was insisting that Dean had changed. Dean was no longer that person, and Kurtis would not be friends with someone.
Oh, God. But then he made an edgy joke, and we found out that when people change, it's not fully, it's only partially at a time. Oh, fuck.
If they were still like that.
Oh,
fuck.
fuck.
So with all of that being said, put yourself in Kurtis's shoes for a minute.
No.
Which, they're usually stylish, so look at you. One of your close friends, just pick one and hold them in your mind. And now say that a really old joke that they made a really long time ago, maybe before you knew them, got brought up, shared on the internet, and now a lot of faceless people are demanding some kind of apology. Not just from them, but from you. You see this friend as a good person. You see them as respectful and not like that old humor at all. So you know that they have changed.
Okay.
And yet, all of this fury is raining down on you both. I can understand how you would want to defend them pretty adamantly. And it makes sense that you might be a little mad yourself and annoyed that people are involving you in it too. They're out judging past actions, and they don't know your friend now. They don't know what you know. These people are seemingly unsatisfied until they get something from you. And besides, when did you become responsible for someone else's actions?
With dumb friends comes great responsibility. Incredible.
The only person who knows what Kurtis was thinking when he was defending Dean against these allegations
was Kurtis himself.
Was Kurtis.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know why. You don't either. Kurtis might not even remember why, or maybe he didn't have a good reason.
Cool.
That's just how things played out.
True
he chose
that,
to stand
man.
up for a friend, knowing full well that his friend's old actions are something that he would condemn as a part of his job.
True.
Standing up for someone you love is something that might not have reason to it. I mean, it seems like a very human response to want to protect someone you care about from this seemingly invisible, titanic wave
This
of
guy's just fucking yapping.
voiceless opinions. Kurtis is important to YouTube. Not just the website itself, but to his audience. And
Let's see if I have a weird parasocial relationship with Kurtis, brother, but okay.
to the ways he uses his platform every day. To him, he was just coming from Vine to YouTube and wanted to poke fun at his old coworkers.
Or fight a Camp T.
And then when it started taking off, he probably ran
I'm
with
dumb
it.
as shit.
I don't know if he or Danny or Drew fully understood what they were doing to YouTube as a whole. The entire space changed, and Kurtis became one
As
of
a
the pillars
penis
of the
hole.
community. And so, whether he wants to or not, yeah, I think his opinion and what he chooses to do
matters. Defending a loved one is something I will always understand, but you cannot pick and choose who to apply your values to if you are a leader of a community preaching those values. We, as an audience, should expect equal treatment to not just the weirdos and strangers and idiots online that we
come on. This is a fucking yap festival.
talk about, but
He's saying nothing. He's just fucking yapping.
And the people we choose to surround ourselves with. No matter how instrumental or important or special or funny Kurtis is, we can't wave away the expectations that are on him because what he chooses to say matters. That's why I get why so many people were looking to Kurtis when these were Dean's fuck-ups, or why they saw when Kurtis chose to defend Dean as hypocritical, or how his arguments were thin. From an outside perspective, Dean is saying these things and getting away with it, and for him to be on the platform he is, getting paid the way he is, I can see how people would not see that as fair. The eyes turning to Kurtis, who is arguably in control the most.
I just hit my cut. I had a cut from before I hit it again. It hurt so bad.
Of the situation.
Oh my God.
Does make sense. But
dude, what the fuck are you saying? Like, I get it. Kurtis Connor, he's a big, influential person, and so that's why people ask for his opinion. You've made this point 5 fucking times already. What's the point? Bring like, are you just trying to put people to sleep so they wake up to your conclusion where it's like Kurtis is bad by association and needs to kill his friend? Like, what do you want to happen here?
Let's be honest. I also completely understand the selfish but human act of wanting to defend your friend over
my God.
old jokes or, you know, being awkward.
I love
with a
making
girl.
old jokes. I hate old people.
And
I'm kidding.
having this wave of people come at him, wanting some kind of payback or justice or revenge, and how you might want to stop that. These people don't know the full story. They don't see you off camera, and yet they are demanding you excommunicate your friend based on what they know. If we're looking at this from that perspective, that makes sense too, especially if you know this friend to be different and you've seen them evolve. I don't think it's right, but I understand why someone would choose to defend them. Additionally, this is someone you've watched evolve. It's a childhood friend who used to make bad jokes and is now not. I don't agree with it, but I empathize with the idea of wanting to give that friend extra chances. So what do we expect from Kurtis versus what should we expect from Kurtis?
Yeah, he's trying to hit that minimum word limit. Dude, it sort of feels like...
It doesn't really matter if we get one sooner or later. Ask yourself...
We shouldn't get anything. Kurtis should never respond to fucking psychopaths like you. You'll never give into it. You'll just make like more content out of it. Like, you don't really care. This whole thing is so fucking dumb. Oh my God.
That question of where's the line before you are responsible for someone else's behavior.
We all, question mark, make mistakes?
So now
yeah,
we've
no
been
shit.
referring to Kurtis as the public figure and us all as the audience. But
Did you just put like rain in the background to make it seem more aesthetic?
right now, connected between this screen, I'm the public figure and you're the audience.
Okay.
I'd forgotten that I could be both, like an audience member and a commentary channel.
Dude, come
like, it's my
on.
name
Are you
the
going
channel.
to take us into the bathroom and fucking watch TikToks with us next? Like, dude, what are you saying?
Kinda. You might be someone who comes to this channel regularly and seeks out my opinions on things, and that means that I have to earn your trust and maintain that responsibility. And if not, you might know someone who does. If you don't, tell them about the channel. Tell them to like and subscribe. When the commentary genre was branching out in that...
Bro, could you imagine being in like the real world and be like, oh, who's your like favorite YouTuber? Oh, it's this guy named Duncan Caster. Oh, really? What does he do? He just does things. He just talks so much about something irrelevant.
Doug McGug became a member.
Thank you so much for the stuff, brother. And he tries to make it seem like it's important. Oh, okay.
down year of 2020.
Oh, okay.
I had no intentions of becoming
that's crazy.
well-known, let alone famous. Like, I was aiming for a small community of people to talk about things with and have discussions. I was looking for a community of people to discuss things in a constructive way, and I think I got that.
Yeah, he was looking for a community because nobody in the real world could suffer through his fucking obnoxious behavior. People just didn't like him. And this is the thing. All these weirdos online don't have real life friends because like nobody wants to be around them because they're annoying. Somehow there's a fucking safe haven for these weirdos here, though. Why am I going to hearth to Orgrimmar? Are you fucking kidding me?
Even though it was much more than I anticipated.
Fuck
But
you!
I can't lie.
Fuck you!
When my subscriber count was going up, and the fantasy of doing this as a career was floating in my head, and potentially that number rising and rising, I tried to think about if there was anything in my past that would bring down a career like that. I racked my entire memory trying to think of if I had offended anyone, or if I'd accidentally said something, or said a word, or if there was any evidence someone could bring up.
Yeah, I've said a lot of words. I'm not really worried about it at this point.
Microwave Junkies became a member.
Thank you so much. Wait, what the hell? Oh, it was like a reroll of a bunch of people. Thank you to all the... This is just reoccurring subs. You guys can come in the chat and give a special message if you want, but these people aren't here.
On the off chance that I forgot, I just tried to remember so hard. In the end, I couldn't think of anything,
Wow,
besides
good for you. You're such a nice guy, man. Thanks for communicating that to us, but we never would have thought.
the occasional unresolved argument or friendship that ended on bad terms. But, those are average adolescent things. I avoided slurs all my life. I avoided parties on accident all my life. I was a homebody. I had
I told you, he's a fucking loser.
a very, very clean slate. Whatever fantasy
This guy was a dork. The guy's a hall monitor. Excuse me. You're not supposed to say these things. That's why he's done nothing wrong, because there's nobody that was ever around him for him to see that he's doing something wrong. He probably sat there and like obsessively jacked off to some fucking celebrity that he had a parasocial relationship with, some creepy ass shit, but nobody was around.
To see if a future career I had was safe, and yet still, I kept trying.
Guys, I'm fucking super pure, so I'm allowed to continue to make my content. But if you have a one bad thing in your past, you shouldn't be doing that, and you should give 50% of your income to black people. It's like, okay, cool, thanks, man. I'm sure black people feel really good about what you're saying.
To remember, if you preach goodness,
they're probably all the black people in the world are probably clapping for this guy right now. Actually, I don't know if you guys know that.
Dark is brought up from your past, you've suddenly lost all credibility in everything you've ever said.
Oh,
jeez. It's just all immediately void. And
really? That's crazy. It's almost like you don't appreciate people who've grown through their mistakes. Wow. I'm sorry. Are you a conservative? Are you a fucking dirty conservative bitch? What are you talking about, dude? You're acting like a cuck right now. If you've ever done anything bad in your past, it's irredeemable, and you could never move on from it. By the way, what is your political lining? Oh, I'm a progressive. Oh, you believe in prison reform? Yeah, I do. Oh, okay. You believe in prison reform? Why? Oh, I think people can move on from their bad behaviors. Oh, okay. But if they murder somebody, yeah. But if they say a bad word, no, that's permanent. Oh, okay. Which one of those is worse? I think saying the N word is probably worse than murder, guys. I think. Like, where's your proportionality, bro? What is wrong with you? You're like a psychopath.
It's not brought up by yourself.
What's wrong with you? It's a fake leftist, dude. Like, that's what it is. It's fake. It's fucking fake leftists. That's all this is. Like, you really don't have to dig too deep to find somebody faulting on their own political, like moral and political values that they claim to have the second that they can opportunistically engage with it. That's all this is. Like, none of these people live by any actual moral code. It's just virtue signal as hard as possible to make as much money as possible. Like, this person is creating an atmosphere of non-growth. That's all it is. It's like, wow, that's super productive for our society. Fuck, I'm gonna come.
Maybe even impossible. And lines can be blurred because if you think back to famous YouTube cancellations like James Charles or Shane Dawson, their careers are completely fine because James Charles is known for makeup. And so his audience didn't really pay attention to the allegations of him grooming teenage boys over Snapchat.
So he did. Just to be clear, he didn't. Nobody even alleged he groomed. So I don't even think. Okay, I don't think you know what grooming is. I'm not even getting into the conversation. Okay, so they did care a lot. Both of them were in like the beauty community, which is very adjacent with the drama community, but they moved on from it because they both did bad things. Shane Dawson made some incredibly inappropriate jokes on YouTube, and back in the day when that was more accepted, and he stopped doing it before he was canceled. And James Charles talked to people of an inappropriate age. He's not a groomer. He's not a predator. Grooming doesn't just mean I was 21 and I talked to a 16-year-old, where it's debatable if he even knew they were 16. Grooming is an incredibly intentional and methodical process of setting typically a child up for typically sexual exploitation. It is not I knew a kid and I got something out of them. It is an incredibly deeply malicious, intentional, predatory act of a manipulation, disconnecting people from other support systems so that they're only dependent on to you, gaslighting them, isolating them, like truly hurting them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things. That's it. And I think that people are understanding that the things that they did were bad and they deserved to be held accountable in some capacity, but that they can move on. Like that they these are things that they are able to move through and move past. Right? Like, that's how the world's supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to move past bad things that you've done. It's not like the hottest take in the entire fucking universe here. Okay? So
they were there for the makeup. And Shane Dawson used to be
I actually muted him, but I think the video's better.
Teenage boys over Snapchat. They were there for the makeup. And Shane Dawson used to be really racist and made a bunch of pedophilic jokes, but he's the mystery video man. And so people kept going to him for the mystery videos. When your offense does not match your career, you have a little...
What are you talking about? It does match their audience. This guy doesn't even know what he's saying. You're just wrong objectively. Their audience, both of their audiences were pissed. What are you talking about?
Bit of an extra shield. And when it comes to commentary, where it's all opinions and establishing trust,
what?
Having something in your past, you can't James Charles your way out of that one. So I kept going. I kept stretching through my memories like I was wringing out a wet towel. Because I knew then what I knew now, which is that I'm here to promote nuance and constructive thinking and being respectful.
No, you're not. That's not what you're here for. You're here to virtue bully somebody else and virtue signal. There's no nuance in what you're saying. All you're saying, you literally, there's no nuance in saying you can never live your past down and you can't be a public figure if you've ever done something wrong. What's the new? Do you know what the word nuance means? Like, what are you saying? What's the fucking nuance you're talking about? You know, stop using. You know what the words mean? Nuance is like when you apply critical thought to something. You're not doing that.
And if there is even the slightest
we're more than halfway. We're 2/3
thing that I had forgotten I'd done or mistake I'd made, all of that could be put in jeopardy. Thank God I was a loser in middle school / high school / the first 2 years of college. I was kept away from any opportunities of offending or doing any harm.
Wow.
I was nowhere near.
So like this is the thing though, because like I don't trust people who've never lived life. Like what you're telling us is you've never had any friends or any real social interaction and you've never really done anything wrong. So how do I know that if you know things are actually right or if you're just echoing whatever the atmosphere is telling you to echo? And to me, it's clear that you don't actually know right from wrong. You just listen to what you're told and have no true level of empathy because you're not even moral. You're not even aligning with your own moral value of being a progressive. And I guarantee you this motherfucker is a progressive. You're like, he never said that. He is. Oh my God. He pretends to be. So like... What are you talking about? Like, you're trying to make it seem like you're morally and virtuous, but you're just a closeted little baby that acts like somebody who's homeschooled. Like, you don't have human interaction. Like, what are you talking about? I prefer people who have done bad things in the past and they genuinely grew through that than I do to people who have always just kind of existed and like, oh, I never did anything wrong. It's like, oh, okay. Like, what? I don't really trust you. Like, are you saying that you would have offended, done something wrong if you had the chance? Yeah, is that what you're saying? Like, oh yeah, I would have, if I actually had friends, then maybe I would have dressed in blackface and fucking, yeah, I would have. Like, what are you saying? Like, what you're saying is effectively that you never had the opportunity to do a bad thing because you're a loser. Like, that's what you're saying to us. Okay, so if that's the case, all you're telling us is that, like, you acknowledge that you would have done the bad thing. I don't understand.
Near places where I could be negatively influenced into making those kinds of decisions. I was a wallflower. I had my small, close-knit group of friends.
Yeah, dorks.
I didn't know what Reddit was. You know, I had a lot going for me. I had my small little friend circles, and if anyone said anything racist or derogatory, I'd remove them from my life because my parents raised me by those values, and so that was the system I trusted.
That's awesome, man.
And
that's so
besides
cool.
A handful of arguments and people I've pissed off.
Right? I'm sure Kurtis Connor the mom and dad were like, yeah, somebody says like a slur, just like laugh and clap. Like, what do you think is happening? I don't know shit. Like
teenager shit.
My mom didn't like any bigotry either, and yet here I am. I'm not really truly bigoted, but I made like a lot of jokes on Dota 2 when I played that for a while. You know what I mean? It's a little too edgy. Those times were a little edgy back then. You know, thank God times have changed. So
not done anything that could jeopardize a career, and I owe that to the friends I kept.
Wow, that's crazy, man. You're such a good guy. We should have sex.
The commentary channels that I watched growing up. In those 3 days of 20-year-old me in a lockdown apartment in Chicago, just trying to bring up anything that I'd done bad. It's pretty funny to look back on now.
So you literally sat there and tried to think about all the bad things you've ever done? That's just like almost embarrassing for you.
But I'm glad I did it because
it's like obsessive.
Forced me into a lot of reflection. And I think it's an exercise that more...
Reflection about what? You just told us that you've never done anything bad or wrong ever and that you had cool friends. What are you reflecting upon? What do you mean? You're reflecting? What are you talking about?
Public figure should do.
Okay.
Maybe even something that everyone should try. The past doesn't go away, but making good choices in the present will give you a past worth being proud of. And that's something I think everyone should know. Not
it's like fake. It's like a fake profound point because again, he doesn't really believe in changing as a person because this guy needs to be posted forever.
People trying to be TikToks famous. Okay, all right, let's be done with me, and let's move on to this cannonball to the gut of a finale.
There's a Kurtis response to this. That's cool.
Journalism never sleeps, baby. The story seemingly had ended. I was going to finish my video with some unanswered questions, but Kurtis has now formally responded to the third Dean event.
Oh, yeah, he responded. Here we go. This is his response. Sorry I haven't posted on here in a while. I've been on vacation at Disneyland. Fucking base Kurtis. This is actually making me like Kurtis. Holy fuck. Because it seems like Kurtis, based on so far what I'm hearing, and that might change, Kurtis seems to be an actual genuine person who maintains and like holds to his moral value. That's what it seems like to me, because he's not sitting here cutting off his friends for making mistakes, and that's a big deal to me. That's like, okay, you're not being a performative dick for a career.
the blackface photos. It looks pretty long, but bear with me. I think every word we see here is going to be important towards what we.
I think the greatest sin that came from that guy wearing blackface is that this video exists, and then I have to watch it now.
This addressing the Dean situation. Hey guys, for those of you that don't know, pictures of my friend Dean have resurfaced of him in blackface at a Halloween party in 2014,
Cool.
as well as several inappropriate tweets he made from around the same time period. Obviously, this goes against everything I stand for and everything I've preached on my YouTube channel.
You guys ever think of not adding this into your fucking video?
Dean's behavior and comments were racist, homophobic, misogynistic, and wrong. I want to thank you guys for bringing these things to light. Sometimes when you're friends with someone for a long time, you want to see the best of them, and I believed that Dean had shown growth. Dean's behavior was abhorrent, and I should have spoken up to Dean about it when it was happening. It's not
Okay.
easy to stand up to your friends, and I need to do better at standing up for my beliefs when I witness racist, homophobic, and sexist behavior,
Cool.
regardless of when it took place. I also want to
Great.
apologize for not addressing this sooner. I realize that as someone with a platform, I have a greater responsibility to admit when I'm wrong and set a good example. I've come to
Okay.
realize that all of you are correct, and I should not have given Dean a platform or taken him on tour. I'm sorry for doing so, and will not be
Ew, loser! You're gonna fucking cut your friend off? Why?
doing so
Why is he changing his mind now? What's happened at first? He was like, "It's my friend. He's changed." Why are you changing that?
in the future. I know that I should have made this change sooner. While I can't change the past, I can and will stop giving him a platform moving forward.
That's kind of pathetic, but whatever. Do your thing, I guess.
I've tried my best over the years to use my platform to promote inclusivity and to combat intolerance, and the actions of one of my friends 9 years ago do not reflect who I am and what I stand for today. I'm sorry for having platformed someone that has done these things, and I hope my actions moving forward show my true intentions. I want to thank
Okay.
you all for bringing this to light and helping me address these problems. This feels like the kind of
I mean, I don't understand why he decided to throw his friend under the bus, but
apology
okay.
that fans have been wanting since the beginning. It's honest.
It sounds like he just caved in. Like his initial response was like, "Yeah, he's changed. He's a good guy now. He used to be bad." So now the change just sounds like he's giving into his audience, which is kind of pathetic. But you keep doing that, and people are just going to expect more and more and more, and you're going to end up self-sabotaging. So
And it calls out things for exactly what they are. A part of me does want to dig into the part where he says Dean's behavior was abhorrent and I should have spoken up to Dean about it when it was happening. Because again,
no, you're not. You're not going to dig into it. You're going to be like, "Well, why didn't he say anything?" Well, he says in the next line, "Yeah, I'm working on correcting my friends better." It's like, okay, cool. That's a human thing. Again, it's not easy to just be like when you're hanging out with your friend and he says some dumb shit, be like, "Hey, bro, you know, you really shouldn't do that." You know, most people, even when they have bad parts of them, are still decent people. So
that's implying that you knew at the time.
yeah,
But then there's another
it's
almost
not
contradictory
implying. It's explicitly saying it. It's not even implying it. What are you talking about? Like, do you know what words mean?
point where he says, I need to do better at standing up for my beliefs when I witness racist, homophobic, and sexual behavior, regardless of when it took place.
Okay.
So he's saying that sometimes,
God, dude.
I don't know what he's saying.
Dude, you have way too much time alone with your thoughts. You think that these thoughts that you're having are profound. They're not. They're so basic.
He is no longer on the tour,
Okay.
and he is experiencing
Cool.
the consequences for what he did 9 years ago without any sort of defense from Kurtis about how he'd grown or changed. And while I do think it's likely that he had grown and changed,
Oh, but didn't we just see that it said that his friend grew and changed, or was that a different person? Am I just getting confused? I could have swore. Whatever. I don't care.
if Kurtis didn't know about this, it would be a hell of a shock. And even if everyone knew about this, it coming out, it's kind of hard to like keep your friend on tour when that picture is out. He says, I want to thank you all for bringing this to light a few times. And
Whatever.
I think that's addressing
I could have
How-
swore like 5 minutes ago he was defending his friend. Why? What's the shift up for?
how long this has been going on. The fact that this is strike three, the fact
Okay.
that he was so defensive of Dean and the evidence just kept piling up. And this case that the fans were like phantomly building against him had some validity to it. As far as I know, this was only posted onto Reddit. But I think that since that's where the uproar and discourse was going the most, I think it's best if it's put there, because posting it onto Instagram probably isn't going to help. The what if I were you in me sees this
This is why you don't make a long apology. People will pick at it apart and be bad faith. Yeah, that's the whole internet. Like, you're never gonna win out. Oh, make chicken sound so good.
post and agrees
wanna be
with how
chicken.
it was handled. If I ever found myself in a situation like that, this is the wording and language I would lean towards in addressing it with honest intentions and
Cool,
not
but you're a perfect guy, so you never have that problem, man. So don't even worry about it. You know,
where I'm trying to escape blame. I think following Dean's apology,
I'm
Jacob's apology,
apologizing for
and now this,
yapping.
I think it's a very conclusive way to put an end to the entire
Cool.
discussion of Dean on the subreddit, off the subreddit, with each of the texts, tweets,
Wow.
examples. I would be surprised
Great.
if
So why are there 20 minutes left of your video?
Dean comes up again within the Kurtis fandom.
What's
And of
left?
course, Kurtis, the person, can go see Dean off camera. But
Oh, thank God you gave him permission. We love it.
it's none of our business, and we won't know if that happens, and it's just not worth losing the brain energy over. Unless something else major happens, I think this is where it all ends.
Oh, update, guys.
I will try
Curtis
and
Cutter
probably draw a
farted.
conclusion to all of this tomorrow.
He farted
Um,
his pants.
I hope I'm not like having a really realistic dream, because I'm already like writing the conclusion in my head.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Also,
dude.
being racist publicly and like to black people while trying to be funny might be the worst situation you could ever be in.
Oh shit, dude! Are we gonna get our criticism of Nick is not green for weaponizing sexual assault allegations? Holy fuck, dude! Oh, dude, that's poo poo wiener. Oh, doo-doo balls.
I've had to refilm the conclusion to this video 4 times.
Why?
Because between the updates and the rethinking and the talking with friends about it, I should have started the video with this. This is not an attack video.
You talk to your friends about this shit? Dude, that's fucking embarrassing. I don't talk to my friends about my shit. It's fucking weird as hell, dude.
On Dean.
Who the fuck is this goddamn quest
This could have been
person?
about any comedian and their childhood friend who did something wrong. It's not personal. This one
so
just happens to
pissed.
be uniquely related to me. I know who these people are. I do similar work to them. We're technically co-workers. And they're very well known with giant platforms. And it just happens to be that the story revolves around them. Both the unique circumstances of the details and my own limited connection to the story are what really pulled me in and had me thinking about this for a long time. Editor Duncan, have we hit an hour yet? Oh boy. That being said, I do care about the people in this story, because nothing can be easy for me. I also care a lot about
Why?
the results of this event and what the repercussions are for
Really pretending to care about these people is so fucking weird. I hate when people do that.
only me, but
Hey,
everyone
thank
on
you
the
so much for the 12-month from Nico Amatulo. Happy 1 year. Happy 1 year, brother.
platform. And I probably got a little too emotional thinking about Chicago and starting YouTube. Basically, the bug in my brain was like really digging into the emotional part, and so the story got away from me. But before you and I do any kind of grand conclusioning, let's just take a moment and zoom out, like far out.
Crazy.
How do you reduce
So
this story for a stranger or like one of your grandparents? From someone
You don't. They're not going to care. They're probably saying slurs themselves or your fucking grandparents. What are you talking about? Nobody gives a shit about this. This is such like an irrelevant thing.
out of the know, from out here.
Hey, God, 10 years ago, a guy did blackface and said some slurs on Twitter. Oh, fuck. That's not good. That's how people engage with it. This would have been a 5-second conversation.
This story is about a comedian having to deal with his friend doing blackface in 2014.
Do you think that at the end of the video, he's like, I recorded 8 hours of
down self.
maybe.
That's all this is. It goes against what I usually do on this channel, where I try to find the importance and everything, but it's good to remember that zoomed out, far away, this is not anything giant. The issues are systemic, but the people themselves, are just niche.
Wow, it's incredible that you put this at the end of the video. I wonder why you didn't put this at the beginning of the video, admitting that this is a big nothing burger.
According to who we know. Email this to your grandparents so they know who Kurtis Connor is. But to the people who know about the details and the context and the figures involved and people who care, this is a very important topic.
No, it's not.
One that is
It's
attached
never
to this
important.
different yet still relevant exploration into internet
really.
conduct that we haven't yet figured out.
No.
Let's get the big stuff out of the way first. Dean should have never done blackface. He should
Wow.
not have tried to keep it hidden all these
So,
years.
dude, you're
he
so
should not have
based.
tweeted
Oh,
everything
fuck.
that he did, and he
Oh,
could have been
really?
nicer to Justine. About moving forward, he says in his apology that he's going to be stepping back, which I do think is the right move. And I might be biased because it was my idea, but I do think it's possible you could ghostwrite or do comedy from behind the scenes, just not in the spotlight, because we shouldn't take away the art
Why? If you think somebody's racist, then like that doesn't even make sense to me.
form he likes because he made a mistake. It
Why? What?
was a horrible racist mistake, and he needs to be doing reparations. Hopefully he's
He needs to be doing reparations? Dude, you're a fucking psychopath, dude. What are you talking about? Why if you think that it's appropriate for somebody to still like what is the difference between being the public figure and not? I don't understand. If anything, you could argue that people might resonate with somebody who used to be racist but has changed his ways. Why what are you talking about? Why are we fucking watching this? Oh my god.
started. But I honestly do believe that there is
Who
a
the
way
fuck is this
to
goddamn
exist
quest giver?
when canceled, even though that's not a thing, but that's like the best word to describe it.
It
In a
quite literally is a thing. You're engaging in cancel culture. You're fucking virtue signaling and sensationalizing a big nothing situation. An hour and a half on this.
time, maybe he can find some peace in the
Holy
reparations he's done.
fuck.
Because this shouldn't be
Reparations.
the end
Holy
of Dean's
shit,
story
dude.
forever. He's a person. His life will continue, and he gets to choose how that goes. Next, Jacob. He does the right thing by calling himself out as a bystander and owning up to the responsibility of keeping this a secret all this time. But newfound responsibility aside, I still kind of have issues with the whole staying quiet about something until it's caught and you're all found out. But I can also understand why that would be something he and Dean would have to approach together, and why that might have made things hard.
Who the
I think it'd be
fuck
helpful if
is this
Jacob
quest
contributes
giver,
with
dude?
some reparations of his own.
It's
but
pissing me the fuck
from
off.
the sign of his channel and the good content he's making in terms of putting out a positive message to his
I'm just
audience,
gonna
I think
quit.
he should keep doing that. I think that should stay. That kind of outreach is good, and it's probably best if he continues doing what he's doing. And actually, I also want to address this. As more and more public figures pop up on the internet, I think we should do less of this whole innocent until found guilty thing, but I can see how that might be easy for me to say.
What? What?
I think we should probably best if he continues doing what he's doing. And actually, I also want to address this. As more and more public figures pop up on the internet, I think we should do less of this whole innocent until found guilty thing, but
You mean like one of the founding aspects of our constitution or whatever, or like of our justice system? Wait, what do you mean we should do less of innocent until proven guilty? What are you talking about?
I can see how that might be easy for me to say. Apologies work best with honesty, and if
What?
you've been holding in a secret for a long time, it's not a really good honest place to start. In a weird way,
What the fuck does it have to do with innocent until proven guilty?
I have this sort of mutated privilege where I can go like, oh, if you tweeted something bad, just do this. But I've never been in that situation, and I don't know how that feels.
Oh
I can try and
my
empathize and imagine all I want, but I don't know what that feels like. I hope to know.
Why is half this video him talking about how he's such a good guy that's never done anything wrong? This is like you're coming off like a creep.
Know what that feels like. So just consider any opinion or conclusion that I
maybe
come to
he's in
through the
here.
lens of someone who has not experienced this.
Okay,
And
cool.
probably you have that same lens of your own. unless you have been publicly canceled, in which case you outrank me. You're the expert here. And before we get to Kurtis himself, I do think I want to address the Kurtis Connor community spread out over all of these social medias, especially the people who are actively involved and engaged with this story. It's easy to forget, but it's important to remember that the reason these people can seem so outwardly angry about this topic is because they're passionate about it. All of that energy that seems angry, that might feel angry.
No, it's not. It's because people are psychopaths. Very few people actually care about any of the issues that they talk about. They love using it as a weapon to bludgeon somebody over the head while not applying or not leaving some kind of a room for actual growth. Stop jerking people off and making them feel like, oh, these people just care a lot about these issues. No, they don't. They don't care that much about these issues. Some people do. Most people are just looking for a reason to bully somebody on the internet and feel justified. That's all it is. It's all the same. You're all the same fucking person. Whether it's you doing it or whether it's somebody doing the same thing to somebody with like an intellectual disability who doesn't do something like doesn't do the right thing because obviously they have a different interaction with the world and need different parameters set onto them. It doesn't matter. You're all just virtue bullies. You're all fucking annoying children that don't understand how to engage with life in a critical way. You're just pandering and jerking off your audience, trying to make them feel good, like they're good people. That's all it is. It's just it's literally, you're just masturbating. You're just morally masturbating right now for everybody. You're doing it in front of your audience while they jerk off themselves and go like, oh my God, you know what? That is me. That is really me. That is so me. Is this the guy I need? Oh, you fucking bitch. It's not.
Is coming from a place of love. You don't do this to me normally. Do you know what I'm filming? Okay. All right. Okay. And you know what? I'm sorry, I don't think I can.
Dude, where the fuck is this NPC?
Weirdly cropped evidence of social media screenshots. It's really just because these people care a lot about Kurtis, and they're passionate about what Dean and his actions relate to Kurtis. They want to be involved in his connections with Dean, which is a parasocial problem, but again, it still comes from a weird place of love. And it's easy to just brush it off and call it a rabid fan base that builds someone up only to tear them down later and blah blah bullshit. No, these people love Kurtis, even when they're mad at him. Being that invested in the topic and caring so much about the outcome, it has to come from a place of love. And that's why
you're a weirdo. That's like something a psychopath would say. They care so much. It has to come from a place of love. No, it doesn't.
Addressing their perspective matters, because also, they're not all in one group. Unless a fan of Kurtis follows Dean's Twitter and saw his video, or if they're a longtime fan or newcomers to the subreddit and is revisiting this topic, this entire thing might happen, and you might not even know about it.
Good.
As people who rely on our media presence, we always ask you to follow us on Twitter, or on Instagram, or TikTok, or Twitch, or Snapcube, or GrubChat, or whatever, etc. But let's say you only follow me on Twitter. If I'm addressing this huge public scandal over on Instagram, you probably don't even know what's going on over there. It's too wide of a network for everyone to know everything. And so when discussing the Kurtis Connor fan base, it's important to know that I'm using that term selectively here. Kurtis posted the apology directly to Reddit, and some people might critique him for not sharing it elsewhere, but since that's where the uproar and...
Don't you like that? Some people might criticize him for that. I'm not going to, but I'm going to put the idea in your mind. Dude, this guy's such a fucking sleazebag. Holy shit.
This course really started. It makes sense that he puts it there, and so they can link people to it. That being said, if you never visit the Reddit and you don't really know who Dean is, then this entire thing could have just passed you by. You wouldn't have noticed. And that's not a bad thing, but it's interesting. So yeah, I'm sure Kurtis's Instagram was relatively okay while his subreddit was exploding in flames. And that's just media entertainment, baby. Everything is/isn't important. Okay, finally, let's address Kurtis. Sure, he's a figurehead of the platform, like some slideshows might lead you to believe, but he's also just a guy.
Oh, God.
He's a person.
I got kicked off the servers, dude.
A human being. And mixing a personal friendship with a business relationship and him having a personal relationship with someone that also extends into business is so complex. I don't think a lot of us could relate to that. But I think we can all recognize that allowing your friends into your business just because you're friends is kind of a big risk. And I said earlier that if I had to guess, I would say Kurtis is the type of person who gives someone multiple second chances. And he does seem to allude to something similar in his response. Thing is, I don't mean to imply that this is a negative trait. That's a good quality to have. Forgiveness and patience and kindness that you have to give someone to help them grow past something. Those are all the marks of someone who is almost putting in way more energy into a situation.
Dude, how are you still going?
I truly believe that as our media culture started, becoming more progressive and a little bit less, look at you, you're not white. Once comedy started forcing disrespect, I'm sure Dean changed with those times. It's not like any of the evidence of tweets or pictures that were found were from a month ago. Kurtis insisted many times that Dean had grown as a person and put that stuff behind.
Wait, so you think he actually did grow as a person? Then why were you so aggressively scrutinizing his thing as if he could never change? I had the quest I already needed. Holy fuck, I'm an idiot. This doesn't make any sense to me. What? What? Your entire video is about how like you don't accept his apology in some capacity. Or you don't think it's a good apology, excuse me. And now you're acknowledging that he changed. So then what's the bad thing about the apology? If you think that he's legitimately changed, before you were saying that he has to... none of this makes sense.
And I don't think he was lying. Dean is probably one of those guys that just became respectful and progressive from 2016 on. Kurtis vouches for him on this. I think the only problem is just hiding it, never addressing it, and turning it into like this big secret that eventually
and then also not giving a significant portion of his income to reparations. That's another factor, guys. Did you think about that?
will find. One last note, just this is super important, I just wanted to throw it out there. A small part of me wants Dean to go onto Kurtis's podcast and have them both address this topic, like straight on. No comedy, no humor, no sugarcoating for the audience. Just title the episode Dean, and you both.
Yeah, this way he can make a video about that and like intentionally bad faith all of it. You know, I get it. That makes sense.
Talk about it. Talk about how it was wrong or stupid, and go into how Kurtis tried to help him grow and everything, and just, you know, air everything out in a way that your audience can see how it actually happened. I'm not saying the guy who did blackface should be given another chance on a platform. I'm just saying one episode where they discuss it from their own perspectives is something that viewers can learn from. And I don't know. It'd be nice if this whole thing could help more people grow instead of just 3 people remanaging their tour. It could end with Dean voicing his plans for reparations or how he's going to start paying back, and that could be it.
What do you do for reparations? What do you do as a white man to do reparations? Or are you just saying that because you're so perfect that you don't have to pay them? But I mean, you are a white man. You did benefit from the system just by existing as a white person. You benefited from the system. In fact, you've upheld the system. All right. So what are you going to do to counter the systemic racism?
Yeah, this could just be me, and you might think that's a crazy idea, but I just want a real, uncomfortable, but honest discussion between the 2 people just who are involved on their platform.
Why?
This can even happen on Jacob's podcast, just as long as it's not sugarcoated.
It's not a big deal. Who cares?
I want to be a fly on the wall and listen to that friend group, like, and what their inner thoughts are. I don't know. This is me just paying way too much investment into something. Blame the bug.
Dude,
it doesn't matter how kind and respectful and progressive you are if you have not acknowledged what you've done in the past and are trying to keep it secret. That's the message this video has been screaming the whole time. When you're hiding something in your past, it's not like it's gone. It's just far away. And as your life continues, you might stop thinking about it, but your secret just gets closer. And
who is this, like, who feels like this is like really profound? Like, who's going like, wow, this has really made me learn so much?
You can pretend everything is okay, but at some point it's going to hit you. Guilt is a powerful energy, and secrets are fundamentally destined to be found. And while the idea of that secret coming to light might scare you, you've got complete control of it. If it's either a personal secret or a potential media storm, don't let it control you by just letting it loom above you and ignoring it. And whether it controls you or you control it is the part that you get to control.
So are you saying we should only come forward with the bad things we've done in the past as like a way to like distance ourselves from it? Like, what? I don't. Well, who cares? You don't have to come forward and talk about every bad thing you've done in your past. It's so stupid.
You might get tossed around a bit, but eventually it's gonna blow over. And now it's just whether or not you want to repeat the same process. If you don't have secrets or like a skeleton in the closet, then now is the time where you get to revisit the big question of the video.
Wow.
Revisit that idea of a friend getting caught for something. And ask yourself where your personal boundaries are, because knowing yourself.
That's why this guy doesn't have friends, because he's annoying as shit to be around. Yeah, go fucking police your friends on all their bad behavior. Okay. I don't have any friends whose behavior is so bad that like I won't engage with them. You know what I mean?
It's never a bad thing. And learning more about who you are and where your beliefs come from, I think will only help you connect.
I gotta kill some Nagas.
I'm just the guy who compiled all the evidence and threw it at you.
It's not really evidence. You gave us like literally 3 minutes worth of content, and then you yapped for an hour and a half. That was fucking terrible.
Hi
dude.
everyone, and thank you for watching this video.
Oh my god, never send me any of his videos ever again, please. This is fucking rot. I'm actually upset. I'm mad at who sent this to me. I'm banning you from the chat.